And then so you said there's a big sportsman culture there.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I say sportsmen, I mean, hikers, I mean skiers, snowboarders.
Okay.
We're very fond of our rivers here, so a lot of river
Oh,
rats. I guess I could consider myself one of them. And then a very large fishing and hunting culture as well. That's certainly a very prominent activity here in the state.
have you ever gone fishing or hunted?
So I've been fishing. I feel like fishing is a little bit more accessible.
Yeah.
Um, I grew up in a family of hunters, so I am very
Okay.
familiar with the culture, with the relationship to that sport. It's hunting season right now.
Yeah.
So that's basically that's all my family is talking about right now. I
So
personally
what are
know,
those conversations like that they're talking about hunting?
well, they all hunt together, which is really nice. It's definitely something that has brought my parents and my brothers closer.
Okay.
So every weekend, and also sometimes during the week as well, they're just planning out where they're going. My brothers actually filled their elk tags this past weekend.
Oh,
But I
wow.
believe they have deer tags still. So I think that's still um, something that they're working toward. But yeah, it's just something that I am for the most part completely unfazed by. It's also like what we ate growing up. So
Yeah. So you're eating
I
elk.
mean, oh
Nice.
yeah, like almost every day, honestly. Like
Wow.
our freezer would be full of elk, and especially as my brothers got to an age where they were legally able to harvest as well. That's like at least three,
Yeah. And elk
elk
are big animals
tags.
too.
They're enormous. Yeah, and yeah, I definitely respect them a whole hell of a lot for having to pack those animals out of
Yeah.
the places that they pack them out of, because they're literally, unless they have like pack horses with them, they're literally carrying
Yeah.
it out on their backs, which is wild.
Do you ever get stopped in traffic with like moose or elk crossing the road?
Moose, not so much. Elk, uh, just because they're found at higher elevations, usually,
Okay.
no. I mean, the closer you get to the park, the more likely. So when I say park, I mean like Yellowstone.
Yeah.
The closer you get to Yellowstone, the more likely you are to run into that. But usually it's just, all deer on the road all the time. I'm shocked I
Okay.
haven't hit one yet in my Jeep.
Wow. So moose aren't in that region?
They are, but they're a little shyer, and they also don't really run in herds like
Yeah.
elk do. So it's just less likely to run into them.
Wow.
Mhm.
How often do you go to Yellowstone?
Uh, at least, since I moved to Chicago, I would make a point to see the park every October, at the end of tourist season. October is a really beautiful time, like right before a lot of
Mm.
the park closes for the winter, at least the road access. Um, have not been since the pandemic.
Okay.
It was a very popular spot for tourists this summer because I think that the pandemic really incited a lot of families to rediscover the Great American Road Trip.
Yes.
So,
Ah,
yeah.
yes, the Great American Road Trip.
Yep. So everyone and their mother were in Yellowstone National Park this summer. So I tried to avoid that, like the literal plague that we're
Well, so
in.
we got Yellowstone, but that's in Wyoming. What national parks are in Montana?
So there's actually a percentage of the park that's in Montana.
Mm.
The northern entrance is in Gardiner, which is technically in Montana. I'd say the
Okay.
majority of the park is in Wyoming, but we do get to have we get to have a very small piece. Um, Glacier National Park is probably, I mean, you know,
Oh, I do see that the
Contra-
border goes into Montana a little bit.
yes, it's
Yeah.
just right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sneaky.
Um, I'd say that like national park purists will hate me for saying this, but Glacier tends to be the more photogenic of the two parks. I mean, they're very different. They're very
Yeah.
different, like climate wise. Glacier is in the northern region of the state.
Okay.
Um,
Do you ever go up there?
that one is ours. You know, I'm embarrassed to say that I have never been to Glacier. It just never happened. It is definitely on my list of things to do. And now that I am once again a permanent resident, it's a lot more likely that I'll get up there.
I'm looking at a map here of Montana. From Livingston at Glacier National Park, it looks like it's like from Chicago to like Memphis. It looks so long. It's on
Yeah,
totally opposite ends of the
yeah,
big state.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why. But I mean,
Well, you got some time now.
I do have time, and like growing up here, you know, driving 7 hours to go play a high school softball game was not
Mhm.
unusual. So I shouldn't make
Wow.
any excuses for not going
Wow. So
to
when you moved
Glacier.
from Chicago, what was the first thing you wanted to do in Montana?
Well, I moved this summer, so that really opens up a lot of opportunity for
Hmm.
outdoor activities. It's definitely a good time to move. So honestly, in the summer, I'm on the river. The Yellowstone River flows right past and right through Livingston. So I am on the river as much as possible. It's one of my favorite places in the world.